Our protagonist named Yuki is introduced at the beginning. When a man on the train tries to ask her for directions, it's evident that she's deaf, but fortunately, a young man named Itsuomi steps in to help the bystander, rescuing Yuki from the chaos and anxiety. In addition to that, Yuki remembers Itsuomi from her friend Rin's class. As Itsuomi reaches his stop, he waves Yuki goodbye and assures her that he will see her again. From this point on, Yuki starts to ask her friend Rin about Itsuomi, who she appears to be crushing on, and this is where we learn that Rin's crush works at the same restaurant as Itsuomi. They decide to try to get in touch with the person they're crushing on, so Rin invites Yuki to tag along with her later that day. Yuki and Rin visit the eatery later that night, and Rin gets Kyuya's number easily, but Yuki has a hard time getting Itsuomi's number. Rin and Yuki quickly make up their minds to go home. As Yuki is about to leave, Itsuomi unexpectedly offers to accompany her home. While they're out walking, Yuki gets a chance to ask him for his number, and he gladly gives it to her. After this, Yuki tells him that she is close enough to the station to walk home on her own, and Yuki expresses her gratitude for him walking her home. Since they've gone in separate directions, Yuki wonders if the world is too vast for Itsuomi, and he acknowledges that the world is big. He then asks her to let him into her world, and this fills Yuki with a great deal of happiness, but we learn that Kyuya has feelings for Rin as well. We see Yuki thinks Itsuomi will consume her at the beginning, and she is extremely uncertain as to whether she is in love with him or merely has a crush on him. She then discusses the matter with Rin, who assures her that he can be what she wants him to be. After this, Itsuomi informs Yuki that he is leaving for Laos, and she enthusiastically responds yes when he texts her and asks if she wants any mementos. While on the trip, Itsuomi sends adorable pictures of himself to Yuki, which makes her heart melt. Yuki sees Itsuomi across the street the day after he gets back from his trip. Both of them are pleased to see each other. On the other hand, Aoshi, a childhood friend of Yuki's, learns sign language for her and is extremely protective of her. This appears to have disturbed Itsuomi, although he remains silent over the matter. Yuki tells Rin that she is in love with Itsuomi, and we also find out that Itsuomi has mastered some basic sign language gestures to communicate with Yuki. Yuki begins to pause and think about Itsuomi, and his enthusiasm to learn sign language prompts her to put together a book of the symbols he needs. Her mother finds her signing and thinks it's just an odd dance move. Later that night, Yuki and Rin go to Rockin' Robin to meet their respective crushes, and Itsuomi shows real interest in learning more about Yuki's hearing impairment and starts asking her questions about it. Kyuya tells him to stop prying into her private life, even though Yuki finds it endearing. After this, Yuki hands him the instruction book she made for sign language, and although he expresses his gratitude, he tells her that he would prefer to learn sign language from her in person. Emma and Shin, Itsuomi's friends, arrive at the bar later that day, and Yuki feels jealous as Emma attempts to make physical contact with Itsuomi. As they're getting ready to go, Yuki inquires if Itsuomi is seeing Emma. Kyuya assures her that they're just friends and have no romantic intentions, and he won't reveal his reasoning behind it. Yuki doesn't hear from Itsuomi for the next 4 days. When she grows anxious, she messages him, and he goes on to suggest that they meet in the laundromat. Yuki teaches Itsuomi some sign language gestures while the two of them spend quality time together. While leaving, Yuki asks Itsuomi if he's dating Emma, and he goes on to clarify that they aren't romantically involved and that they're simply friends. After that, he inquires as to whether she is in a relationship with Aoshi, and she tells him that they're only childhood friends. They agree to meet again before they each go their separate ways. Emma is waiting for Itsuomi when he returns home, and he prefers not to send her out into the snow on her own, so he hands her the keys to his house and then prepares to leave, and whenever Emma tries to come too close to Itsuomi, he tells her to stay away. Emma gets drunk after Itsuomi leaves and discovers the sign language book in his house. Emma notices the book on sign language at Itsuomi's apartment, and since Itsuomi won't really need sign language in his day-to-day life, she starts to question why he wants to learn it. Rin informs Yuki the next day that she and Kyuya are going to go get supplies. It seems like Rin is anxious about going on her own with Kyuya, and as a consequence, Yuki asks if she can join the two of them with Itsuomi. She then asks Itsuomi if he wants to tag along, and he's more than happy to go. Yuki boards the train to go to the scheduled spot she had set with Itsuomi. On the train, she meets Aoshi, who appears annoyed after seeing Itsuomi at the station. Then Itsuomi puts his arms around Yuki's shoulder, which causes Yuki to flush and Aoshi to become enraged. Itsuomi and Yuki are seen enjoying themselves in the supplies store with Rin and Kyuya, and Itsuomi suggests that Rin and Kyuya spend some quality time together by going on a drive after they finish shopping. On the other hand, Yuki approaches Itsuomi and asks whether he would be interested in having dinner with her, and when Itsuomi asks to have dinner at his apartment, Itsuomi takes Yuki to his home to grab a meal, and Yuki is incredibly anxious, and her heart races whenever she is in Itsuomi's presence. In the meantime, Itsuomi tells her that her calm demeanor puts him to sleep. Yuki is held in Itsuomi's arms as time passes, and he appears to be completely at ease, but Yuki is both thrilled and a little nervous. Not long after that, he hands her the gifts he bought as a memento from his journey. After making her giggle for the first time, he starts tickling her. We quickly learn that Yuki only speaks to her family members, and we understand that her voice was once the target of ridicule. She then stops speaking and instead uses nonverbal cues like signs, gestures, and writing to convey her thoughts and feelings, but she doesn't mention this to Itsuomi. After that, they are seen exchanging questions, using sign language, and jotting down their responses. Itsuomi now wants to know what kinds of things she's okay with him doing to her, and the moment she's going to spill the beans, Emma swings by. Following this, Yuki tells Itsuomi that she is leaving and gathers her belongings, and Itsuomi offers to take her home and tells her to wait outside his building. Emma's holding on to Itsuomi as Yuki heads down the elevator, but she misses the part where Itsuomi pushes Emma away. Yuki heads home alone after misinterpreting the situation and sends a message to Itsuomi telling him that she is leaving. Yuki fills Rin in on everything that happened with Itsuomi the day after. Rin then brings Yuki and Itsuomi together and leaves the room. After this, Yuki asks Itsuomi why he wants to learn sign language, and her heart flutters with happiness as she hears him express his wish to learn it so they can communicate. Following this, he presses her to finish what she started the day before, and her words everything prompt him to plant an affectionate kiss on her hands. We see Yuki told Itsuomi everything, and after observing her gesture, Itsuomi now kisses her hand, and Yuki can't help but blush and avoid looking at Itsuomi, but he is on the phone and misses her sign when she confesses her love for him. He then tells her that he has to rush to the eatery and take care of the place, and he adds that he plans to study sign language more extensively during his month-long trip abroad, and he assures her that he will return with more time to spend with her. Following this, Yuki visits Rin at her house, and she also informs her mom that she'll be staying at Rin's place that night. While Yuki is staying at Rin's home, her mother runs into Aoshi and tells him about it. Following that, Aoshi contacts Yuki after requesting for her contact details from her mom, and he wonders if Yuki is really seeing Itsuomi and is merely using Rin's name. We see Yuki and Rin head to the eatery, and after this, Itsuomi approaches Rin and asks if he can have Yuki for some time. He then takes Yuki out and expresses his feelings for her, and she affirmatively responds to his question about being in a relationship. Itsuomi then conveys the good news to Rin and Kyuya, after they return inside. Shortly after, Itsuomi asks Rin if he can walk Yuki to her place while she spends time with Kyuya at the eatery, and Itsuomi drops Yuki to Rin's home and the two of them spend quality time together on their way there. When Yuki is about to go inside Rin's house, but Itsuomi hugs her from behind. Itsuomi leaves for his international tour, during which he intends to visit multiple countries, and throughout his journey, he maintains contact with Yuki, providing her with updates about the places he has been to along with the occasional videos and pictures. On the other hand, Yuki is interested in seeing the world with Itsuomi. She figures getting a job will help her achieve her goal. She then applies to a number of other companies. However, she doesn't find a positive outcome. We see Aoshi message Yuki and tell her that his sister Mayo is visiting. Yuki decides to drop by and meet Mayo on account of this. Since Mayo has completely forgotten how to use sign language, Aoshi has taken to making wide gestures in order to get her point across, and Mayo asks Yuki if she's in love and Yuki says yes. Itsuomi texts Yuki to let her know that he's returned while she's on the train. Following this, he asks to meet her and the two of them meet halfway, and Itsuomi surprises Yuki with a kiss. After that, they have lunch together and savor the moment. Itsuomi quickly tells Yuki that he wants her to meet his friend Shin, and Itsuomi brings Yuki to Shin's house to introduce her as his girlfriend. To introduce Shin, his close buddy, to Yuki, Itsuomi takes her to meet Shin and then introduces her as his girlfriend, but just before entering the house, Itsuomi inquires with Yuki about whether or not she is at ease visiting his home. Immediately after this, he gives her a firm squeeze on the hand to convince her that everything will be alright. After this, Itsuomi and Shin talk about Yuki, and he tells her that she hasn't been able to hear since birth. After that, Shin brings up Emma and discusses how she will react to the news that Itsuomi is dating, given that she has had a crush on him for plenty of years. At this point, it's also clear that Shin has feelings for Emma. Shin, on the other hand, has never witnessed Itsuomi display such a protective and romantic attitude towards a girl. In light of this, he brings it to his attention and expresses his happiness for him, and he offers to deliver the news to Emma himself, stating that it will be significantly less upsetting for her to hear it from him than it would be from Itsuomi. Shortly after, Itsuomi and Yuki leave Shin's home, and it is at this time that Itsuomi reveals to Yuki that he is aware that Yuki failed to read his sign before he kissed her. This is followed by him demonstrating to her the sign that he will make before kissing her henceforth, as well as the sign that she should make to indicate that she is okay with it. On the other side, Shin is seen fixing Emma's hair after giving her a call and inviting her over, and he makes an effort to convey to her that Itsuomi is in a relationship with Yuki, but he is unable to do so when Emma brings up Itsuomi and mentions that she loves him. The scene then switches to Yuki heading to college, and she is shown spending time with Rin while she is attending college. Itsuomi arrives not long after that and joins the two of them. Rin is awestruck by the fact that Itsuomi has mastered the ability to communicate through sign language, and she inquires of Yuki whether or not she should take on the skill, and Itsuomi's suggestion that they attend a sign language boot camp together. Yuki and Rin are seen out shopping in preparation for the boot camp. Initially, they pick adorable outfits to wear, and they then purchase warm clothing when Itsuomi sends them a message informing them that they will be camping in the mountains. The following day, Itsuomi drives Yuki, Rin, and Kyuya to the boot camp, and so they all travel together, and they play a game while they are on their journey, and Itsuomi reveals that he would like to travel with his girlfriend, Yuki. After this, Yuki is even more determined to land a job so she can afford it. Yuki teaches Itsuomi and Rin a bunch of signs once they have arrived at the campsite. Kyuya, on the other hand, is in the cooking area preparing meals for them. Not long after that, Rin and Kyuya decide to go on a hike together so they can give Yuki and Itsuomi some privacy. Yuki and Itsuomi, meanwhile, are spotted enjoying quality time together. While on the trek, Rin gets a call from her colleague, who had asked her out. Rin promptly declines his request and informs him that she is in love with someone else, and this sets the stage for Rin and Kyuya to confess their feelings to each other. On the other hand, as all of this is going on, Rin trips over a rock and gets injured, but immediately after this, the group leaves the campsite and Kyuya takes Rin to the hospital. Soon after, Aoshi's sister spots Yuki and Itsuomi enjoying the outdoors. Following this, Yuki goes to Itsuomi's home and messages her mother, saying she'll be spending the night at Rin's place. On the other hand, Aoshi's sister tells Aoshi about seeing Yuki with her boyfriend, and Aoshi makes a video call to Yuki, and Itsuomi happens to see it. We see in a flashback when Aoshi and Yuki were kids. Yuki is seen admiring the fireworks, and Aoshi can be seen admiring her, and after that, they have a brief exchange of glances, during which Yuki appears to be blushing. Itsuomi hears the buzzing of Yuki's phone in the current timeline, and we learn that Aoshi is video calling Yuki. This is followed by him handing the phone over to Yuki, who then notices that she has missed a call, and Yuki finds herself on the receiving end of yet another phone call, this time from an acquaintance. She learns that she got the job that she had previously applied for, and after that, we see Itsuomi congratulate her. After this, Yuki takes a shower, and then Itsuomi and she watch a movie together. The fact that Yuki is anxious is brought to Itsuomi's attention while he is holding her. Later that night, they sleep on separate beds, and it is somewhat concerning to Yuki. Nevertheless, Itsuomi tells her that she's important to him and that he'll wait until she's comfortable. When Aoshi arrives at school the following day, he confronts Itsuomi. After that, Itsuomi makes an effort to become friends with Aoshi. Nevertheless, Aoshi has no interest in being friends with Itsuomi. In light of the fact that he has feelings for Yuki, it seems like he is bitter towards Itsuomi. Itsuomi then invites him out at night. In the later hours of that day, Aoshi goes to the bar to see Itsuomi, and we find Itsuomi making an effort to become acquainted with Aoshi. Itsuomi is initially treated with a great deal of passive aggression by Aoshi, but despite this, he ends up sobbing over Yuki after having a couple of drinks, and after that, we witness Itsuomi treating him as if he were his younger brother. Yuki and Rin are seen having a discussion with each other when they are on their break at school. For Yuki's amusement, Rin shows a photograph of herself and Kyuya spending time together. Yuki then inquires as to whether or not they are dating after this, and after that, she goes on to explain that Kyuya has not yet asked her to be his girlfriend. Shortly after that, Itsuomi appears and joins the two of them in their conversation, and Rin hears him express his happiness regarding the fact that Kyuya is putting his romantic life first. Rin is embarrassed by this, and she decides to leave to give Yuki and Itsuomi the opportunity to spend some time together in private, and after that, Yuki briefs Itsuomi on her job interview, and he offers his best wishes. When Yuki arrives at the cafe for the interview, she gets selected. She then sends a message to Itsuomi and informs him of the wonderful news. She also gets a message from her mother, asking her to pick up groceries. During her visit to the grocery shop, Yuki runs into Aoshi, who helps her communicate with the staff. Yuki receives an unusually kind treatment from Aoshi after she has finished shopping for groceries. Subsequently, she is curious about the circumstances surrounding him, and it is revealed to her that he is aware that she is dating Itsuomi. After that, he tells her to notify him if he makes her cry, and that he would handle the matter himself. As Yuki continues to compliment Itsuomi, he interrupts her in the middle of her sentence and does not allow her to continue signing. After that, Yuki is seen working for several days without communicating with Itsuomi. On the other hand, Shin extends an invitation to Emma to meet with him, and after that, he tells her that Itsuomi is dating another woman. Subsequently, he asks her to choose him instead. Itsuomi sends a message to Yuki during the weekend saying that he is currently outside, but immediately after this, the two of them get together and spend some time together catching up, and Itsuomi suggests that Yuki and he go on their first date, and he proposes that she pick a place. Itsuomi asks Yuki where she'd like to go on a date with him, and the fact that she can offer her opinion surprises Yuki. As a consequence, Itsuomi then asks Yuki to choose a venue for their first date. After this, we watch Yuki and Rin having a conversation. After she asks Rin for advice, Rin suggests a culinary festival, but that doesn't sit well with Yuki, who believes Itsuomi won't appreciate it because he's always away. Rin then assures her that Itsuomi will thoroughly enjoy witnessing her happiness. The next scene features Itsuomi and Yuki on a train, and this brings up a memory of their first meeting, which Yuki shares with Itsuomi. Then she remembers how they crossed paths by chance the first time and how they're both headed in the same direction now. Following that, Yuki whisks Itsuomi away to a picturesque park adorned with an abundance of flowering trees, and after that, Yuki opens up to Itsuomi about her love of taking photographs of food and flowers. Following this, they're seen enjoying quality time together. Following this, Yuki questions Itsuomi about his frequent travels. Itsuomi writes her a lengthy message and sends it to her, telling her to read it when she gets home, and after spending 4 hours together, Yuki and Itsuomi travel back home. We get a glimpse of Shin and his relationship status with Emma. We find out that although Shin confessed his feelings to Emma, she has yet to respond. Emma is speaking with her coworkers about Shin's proposal while they work at a cafe. On the other hand, Shin's boss asks him why Emma hasn't been showing up there lately. To this, Shin has no response. Following this, the employer tells him that he hopes Emma will visit soon, and Shin agrees. Yuki reads Itsuomi's note after she is cleaned up, and Yuki reads Itsuomi recount his childhood memory of the first time he felt a boy understood him. As a consequence, he started to learn how to communicate better so that he could be understood more often. Following that, he talks about how he has always loved planes and how much he enjoys traveling. His lifelong goal has been to see the world and teach children about its many cultures and traditions. Following that, Itsuomi sends a message to Yuki in which he expresses his desire to meet with her, even if only for a short while, and he expresses his desire to learn more about her and figure out how he can be of help to her. After that, he tells her how much he loves her. In the final credits of the show, we learn that Kyu proposed to Rin and that they are together now. Emma, meanwhile, feels the same way about Shin and the two eventually become a couple. On the other hand, Yuki saves while working at her job and in the end, gets her own passport. She and Itsuomi meet, and soon they are making plans to travel overseas for the first time. We also find out that Aoshi is making an effort to be more forthcoming. In the library, he meets a girl who is interested in him, but whether he ends up dating her or not is left unclear. And the season comes to an end. Let me know what you think about this anime in the comments, and as always leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.